Hey, welcome. We're starting a little bit late, but we'll get it all taken care of. So this is the Redevelopment Agency of Murray City, and we are meeting Tuesday, April 18th, 2023 in the Murray City Council chambers at 5025 South State. So welcome. Let's get started with the RDA agenda. The first is the approval of minutes for March 21st, 2023. Are there any changes? Okay.
No.
Then I will take a motion.
I make a motion approval of minutes of March 21st, 2023.
And I'll second.
All right, is there discussion? Seeing none, then we will you take the roll?
Yeah, Mr. Rickersey.
Aye.
Mr. Markham.
Aye.
Ms. Carter.
Aye.
Ms. Turner.
Aye. Thank you, Bert. So first, we have citizen comments, and I'll give it to Jared.
I just double-checked immediately, and I don't have any to read in, so.
Okay, great. So our first discussion item is consider authorization for letters.
Ask, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Are there any citizen comments? Oh, my goodness. Sorry about that. Are there any citizen comments from those who are in this chamber? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, I will continue to this discussion item. And that is to consider authorization for letters which are required by two developers in order for them to propose purchase of the RDA-owned property located at 5025 South State Street. Jared, that sounds kind of confusing.
It does, doesn't it? There's no easy way to type that, so I'm going to try to explain it a little better in person.
Thank you.
So these two letters that are attached to your packet there are form letters from the Veterans Affairs. The Veterans Affairs group will not work with anyone or even talk to them about real estate deals or anything like that unless they know for sure and have some kind of an assurance from the seller of the property that they are in fact marketing their property for sale. So just having it listed is not enough for them. They want to know in a letter signed by an authorized representative that the properties are in fact for sale. In that case, or in this case, that property owner is the RDA board. So that's the reason for the letters. So what it means basically is these groups that are listed there on your attachments, the Mulaski Development Group and the JTW Development Group, they are looking at making bids on this property, and one of their potential tenants would be the Veterans Affairs. So in order to have that deal going forward, they need these letters from the RDA saying, yes, we are in fact selling the property and won't be pulling back from that. So it doesn't really commit us to anybody in particular. It doesn't commit us to any singular action. It just verifies to the VA that we are in fact selling.
So, and Jill, I assume you've reviewed this all and can.
Our big concern was just that if an authorized representative needs to sign it, that means that anybody on the board could sign it, Jill could sign it, I could sign it, the mayor could sign it. We just need to make sure that, we wanted to make sure that you all knew that this was coming and that we had authorization from you to do it. So,
Typically, the executive director of the RDA board would sign something like this. And again, as Jared said, the reason we brought this was just to make sure you are aware of what's going on behind the scenes.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
we haven't received an offer from them or anything. We're not committing to sell to them. It's just so that they can even be considered by a developer.
Okay, questions for Jared?
Makes more sense when it's not typed, huh? That's usually how
And I'm
things
not.
are.
Okay, all right. So now we are at number 4,
No.
correct?
I assume so, unless you want to.
I would like a motion on this.
Yeah.
So that
Oh, is there,
authorizes
do you
the
want
mayor.
action?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it would authorize the executive director to sign the letters.
I'll make a motion then that we approve an authorization for letters which are required by two developers in order for them to propose purchase of the RDA-owned property located at 5025 South State Street.
Do
I
we
will
have a
s-
second?
I'll second.
Is there discussion on the motion? Okay. Then, Brooke, would you call the roll?
Aye.
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 Aye. All right, GL. Got it. Now we're at number 4, and that is presentation and discussion of a draft employee down payment assistance. And Jared, you're going to present this, correct?
I will, if you want me to. I apologize. Zach Smallwood has put this draft together of this program and was going to present tonight about it, but he got very sick this afternoon and had to go home. So we beg your pardon, but we don't have Zach to present it, and I am happy to answer questions about it. He's the best resource.
Okay.
So my suggestion would be if you have any broad questions, I can answer them, and I'd like to reschedule it for the next time to have Zach present it to you, because he really is the expert on it.
Okay.
Let's do that so that we don't have any miscommunication.
Agreed.
You never know with me what I'm going to say about it. And Zach is probably, knowing Zach, he's watching right now going, please don't try to talk about it, Jared, because you'll get it wrong.
All right, so shall we continue this then?
I believe that would be the best
Okay,
course,
is there any objection?
No.
Okay.
Do we have to have a date certain,
If
GL?
you'd put a date certain, that'd be
So
great.
the next RDA meeting is when?
May 18th.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we continue this item to the May 18th RDA meeting.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Okay, if not, then would you call the roll, please?
Aye.
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 Aye. All right, is that it?
Those are the only items. Thank you.
Okay, we then, oh, I guess, well, we don't have a mayor, so. I know, that's true.
I would make a motion to adjourn the RDA meeting.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
All right, good evening, everyone. And we're going to call this meeting to order. My name is Gary Harekesi. I'm the council member from District 5, and I will be conducting the meeting tonight. So we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I have asked Murray City's own Bruce Holyoke to come and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Bruce. And I realize I didn't introduce everybody else, so all the rest of the council is here except for Councilwoman Dominguez, who has been excused. And then we have Brooke Smith, our city recorder, Mayor Hale Standen, Mr. Doug Hill, and then our attorney, Gio Critchfield, is here as well, and our executive director, Jennifer. With that, we will move on to the approval of the minutes for the council meeting March 21st, 2023. Is there any changes or updates to the minutes?
No, that I saw, none.
Okay. I will take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion. Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that the council approve the meeting minutes from the Tuesday, March 21st, 2023 meeting.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Brooke, would you call the roll?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. We will then move forward to our special recognition for Murray City Employee of the Month, Mr. Bruce Holyoke, Murray City's own Park Superintendent, and I will be presenting along with Kim Sorensen. So we'll meet you over at the podium. All right. Council and Mayor, thank you all. We want to recognize Bruce Holyoke for our Employee of the Month for Parks and Recreation. He is our Park Superintendent. He has 26 years of service, and I'm going to read a little bit about him, and then I'll let Kim come up and say a few things. So Bruce Holyoke currently serves as the Park Superintendent. He has been the superintendent for 5 years. The Park Superintendent has a large area of responsibility. Bruce takes pride in his work and always represents Murray with pride. Most of the work he does is never highlighted or understood, but if not completed, many are impacted. The winter has been a difficult one with snow removal. Bruce has worked hard and many hours to coordinate and make sure park facilities, recreation buildings, senior rec center, trails, etc. are clear of snow and safe for public use. This is a small example of the behind-the-scenes service he oversees. So we're very happy to award the Employee of the Month to Mr. Holyoke. And with that, you get a certificate from the City Council and the Mayor, it's signed, and then you also get a $50 gift card. And your name will go up on the plaque, and it will be there for even in the new City Hall. So, thank you. And
well, this is an honor that's well overdue for Bruce and very deserved. As Councilman Harekesi mentioned, oftentimes Bruce's work goes unnoticed. As being the park superintendent, he's responsible for all of our park properties, the city facilities, graffiti, athletic fields. So if we're not talking about Bruce or hearing about Bruce, he's doing a good job. Because if you show up at a ball field or at a park or use a restroom in the park and it's clean and it's ready for play, you don't even think about it. Think about graffiti. If you don't see graffiti in the city, you don't realize that it was there and it was removed. So, which we don't see those things. Well deserved. I will tell you that I appreciate working with Bruce. He's a good friend. His staff respect him and follow his lead. So well deserved. Thanks, Bruce.
Well, thanks, Kim, and everybody here. I appreciate your support. I love working for Murray City. I love the park system, and I know so many of you here, and I appreciate knowing you and all the good things that you do. I can't start naming individuals because I'll be here for a long time. But thank you very much for this recognition. I really appreciate it. Oh, I can introduce my wife. You stand up. Polly and I have been married for 40 years, and she's stood by me through lots of different things, so I love her. Thanks.
Now you have a couple new parks you have to work on as well, right? So.
Congratulations, Bruce. Thanks for all your service. We really appreciate it.
You know, Bruce, the best thing that I could probably say is you make my life a lot nicer by the care that you put into the facilities and that. I really appreciate it.
All right. We will move forward to some special presentations that we have. So our first special presentation is the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget address, and we have the incomparable Miss Brenda Moore presenting today. Really excited for this. As a CPA, it's something fun when you get to hear about the budget, get you all excited. So I'm really excited to hear from Brenda. Sorry, Phil, I had to come up with an accounting joke now. Come on.
Yeah.
Lawyer jokes, accounting jokes, yeah, they're all the same.
I'll leave the lawyer jokes to GL.
Okay, so I'm here to present the mayor's budget. I've been working with the mayor for the last two and a half months to put this together. He makes all the decisions and I do all the spreadsheets. So let's just start. The entire city budget is $155 million. The enterprise funds and the general fund, when you combine them, the general fund also, on this slide, also includes CIP, because the CIP fund only does projects that the general fund would normally do. And that's where a lot of our big street projects happens too, is in the CIP fund. And then we have a couple, the internal service funds, and then the library, and the other special revenue funds, which in here is the RDA and the MBA, even though you will consider them separately. The budgets are in this book so that you guys have them, and it's just easier to manage and keep track of. The general fund, in total, for just the general fund without the CIP, is $58 million. And the majority of that is public, or the majority of the revenue comes from sales tax. If you add those first three together, it's not quite half of the city revenue. And then property tax is the next, and then all of the charges for services and the transfers in and various things. The money is spent by category. The majority of the money spent in the general fund is to personnel, either the wages and the benefits. The next is operations. Then we have debt service, rent on the city hall. I call it rent on here. It's also debt service because it goes to the MBA and then they make the debt payment. And then I think a little bit of transfers out, which is going to the CIP fund, which is the road projects. By department, public safety, police and fire are our two biggest departments, followed by Parks and Rec and Public Works. And we would hope that those would be the ones that have the biggest budgets. We don't want finance to have the big budget. We don't want anybody else. We want us to be small and the people who are actually doing the work and serving the citizens to be the biggest. We have other funds. I can't actually from here read the numbers, but we've got the water, these are the special revenue funds. So you've got the library, the MBA, the RDA, trying to think of what other special funds we have. The cemetery fund, it doesn't have any money that listed there because it's not actually doing anything. It's earning interest right now. And hopefully, maybe someday, the goal was at one point to have them, the perpetual care fund, be able to pay for the cemetery operations. That will probably never happen because when we were selling graves and putting money into there, they were also pulling money out to operate the cemetery. So it never got a big enough balance for the interest to work. The enterprise funds, water, wastewater, power, golf, the telecom fund that just does the servicing of the loans for Utopia, solid waste, and stormwater. And I borrowed this slide presentation from one formerly from Doug, and I really like to fish for stormwater because all that water runs downstream and ends up in a lake. So some of the budget highlights. The general fund budget is balanced with no use of reserves right now. It does include a 5% property tax increase on a $575,000 house. That's about $23. The ending general fund balance is 15 million and some change, which is 29% of the revenues. Mostly that percentage is so high because our revenues have come down. My budgeted revenues I've decreased. We don't have ARPA money coming in. We also, there's some other things that we've shrunk back down a little bit. The Capital Projects Fund is spending $16,118,000. The employees in here has been budgeted for a 4% COLA. That is, some cities are going higher, one or two are going slightly lower. 4% seems to be about average, and inflation's coming back down. When I checked in January, it was at 8 something, and now it's down to 5. So this is probably a pretty decent COLA number. The STEP program has been funded in here. The budget includes a health insurance increase of 1%. It also includes, we're going to switch dental providers and save 10% on our dental program. We got a broker last year, and they're helping us do some stuff. Save 10% on the dental insurance with a little bit better benefit. And then we're also going to move our long-term disability and it's long-term disability and it's not workers' comp, one of the other insurances, life insurance, long-term disability and life insurance to a different carrier and get better benefits. And it will also, for the life insurance, provide portability. So if someone does leave the city, they can take the thing with them, especially if they happen to have health problems and can't get life insurance again. This would be it's a very nice feature. The budget includes 7 new full-time employees for the city. 5 of those are in the general fund. A police officer, a paramedic, a museum curator, SSOD inspector, that's the area over by the hospital that we need to inspect, and if anybody's digging a hole, we need to know about it and monitor it. And then another inspector, a mechanic, and an apprentice line worker. The mechanic is, of course, is in the fleet department. The apprentice line worker is in the power department. Couple of capital projects highlights. We have $939,000 going to either fire equipment or savings for the aerial truck that's going to get delivered in 2025 or 6 or whenever that is, that we've already ordered. Police vehicles, the old ice rink design, so just try and figure out what we could put there. I might suggest we pause a minute before we actually start building over there until we get the museum done, the theater done, and the armory done, so we know if they go over budget. We've got the Murray Armory in there for $5.5 million. A little bit more for the mansion. Road improvements, between all the money that we have out there for road improvements, we have $4.9 million that they're planning to spend. That includes the traffic signal maintenance and those flashing "you're going too fast" signs and all of that kind of stuff. And then the AMI metering project that both water and power are participating in for a combined total of $5.6 million. There's a whole bunch of other stuff in there. There's a complete list in the back of your budget book and in the CIP tab of everything they want for the next 5 years. And I can tell you right now, I don't have money for everything they want right now, but if you don't ask, you never get. The budget book. The budget summary and analysis, that's the first place you should start. It's on page 8. That tells you all of the details on some of the whys, what's happening with employees. The estimated actual for 22-23 is my best guess based on what had happened through February. So it's not right. It's close. It's as good as I can get. So don't take it as gospel. A large percentage change does not necessarily mean that there was a large dollar change in that line. I usually just look at the bottom line for any given area, and if it went down or increased, then I can kind of go back and look and see what may have caused their increase or decrease. One of the things that may have caused a lot of them are the fleet assessment has gone up and the insurance assessment has gone up. The funds have no, well, they did say yes to getting a new mechanic. So the funds don't have any control over that, so don't ask them. The only person you can really ask about fleet is Russ, and about insurance is GL, because it just flows all the way through. So you'll notice that those went up. You'll also notice that the interest earned went up. And I'm pretty positive I went conservative, but the numbers are still astronomical compared to my last year's budget. So there is the complete 5-year CIP in the back of the book. I figured it would be easier than you going to the CIP tab every time somebody talks about CIP when we're sitting in our meetings to have a separate thing. And with your acceptance and receipt of this, I stop working for the mayor on his budget, and I get to start working for you on your budget. At least next week. I get like 4 whole days of no budget, and then we will start again.
Is there any questions for Brenda from the council?
Not right now.
Not yet.
Brenda, just a big thank you for all your work you put into this. We, different than previous years, Pam and I had a pre-meeting with the mayor and Brenda and team where we were able to discuss a lot of the items that were in here and make sure that there was more alignment coming out when the budget was released. So we're happy to have that and really appreciate all your work that you and the mayor and the team have put into this. So thank
Thanks. And I was really happy that we got to whittle down the large deficit we started with and worked our way down to it being totally balanced. So I think it's a good budget for the city. We can have all kinds of discussions about the 5% property tax increase, so I'm sure we will.
And
go
I
ahead.
also like how we're going to be meeting with each department head at a certain time, and that we're not having them waiting for
Well,
the next person. So it's kind of like a doctor's appointment, and we
we
will
hope.
make sure.
Unless you're running ahead, so
Right.
everybody will show up ahead.
Yep. Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you.
Really quickly, Brenda, will you be able to provide what the other cities are doing from a property tax standpoint increase as well as
I will look into that. I think
Okay.
they're finally, everybody's kind of got that down. I
And
know a
then
couple
the
of them are
COLAs.
considering.
Okay.
It is an election year, so a lot of cities will not do property tax increases on an election year. They're just kind of wary of that. It's a political thing. So I will let know who's doing it. I know a lot of them need to. It's
Yeah.
whether they do it or not, it's another.
Okay.
Question.
That and the COLA would be great. Perfect. Anything else?
No, I'm
Okay.
excited.
Yeah. With that, we're going to move to the second item. So we will consider a resolution acknowledging receipt of the fiscal year 2023-2024 tentative budget from the mayor and the budget officer and referring the mayor's tentative budget for review and consideration to the Budget and Finance Committee of the Murray City Municipal Council. So I don't think Brenda needs to present it. It says Brenda Moore presenting. I'm not sure you need to present anything else on that. So with that, is there any, I'll take a motion on this.
I would like to make a motion to consider a resolution acknowledging receipt of the fiscal year 2023-2024 tentative budget from the mayor and the budget officer, and referring the mayor's tentative budget for a review and consideration to the Budget and Finance Committee of the Murray City Municipal Council.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Brooke, will you call the roll?
Yes.
Aye, yes.
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. And now the budget is in our hands, so we will move forward with that. Next item on the list is citizen comments. So comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Please step to the microphone, state your name and city of residence, and fill out the required form that Jennifer has or Patty has. And it looks like we already have someone up. So, and Jennifer, you'll let them know when there's 30 seconds left? Okay, perfect.
Oh boy, I'm under the gun, huh? I got to get a little bit shorter down here so you guys can hear me. Hi, my name is Chris. I'm in District 3, and I appreciate you guys having me tonight. Have you ever had a long-term rental or a rental property where you had a tenant with an electronic couch that burned a hole in your carpet and then they had to run it out because it was on fire and put holes in your walls? Well, I have. That's my little entry statement there. As far as long-term rentals go, every tenant I've ever had has caused significant damage to my property inside and out. The damage is typically not identified until the tenant moves out. After renting for several weeks or months, my only options are to keep security deposit, which is usually not enough to cover the cost of the damage, file for eviction, which takes months, or take them to court, which is very expensive and time consuming. The worst part is my neighbors have to deal with all of them for an extended period of time. And there's not much stopping renters from throwing parties or inviting large amounts of people over to the property. With short-term rentals, the main reason I'm getting at this is I actually started a short-term rental not knowing it was illegal. So I have taken the process of actually getting and obtaining a license for long-term rentals, just so you know. Short-term rentals lead to individual accountability for both the renter and the landlord. With a simple review and rating method, guests are incentivized to take care of the property and follow the rules that the landlord strive to provide a top-notch guest experience so they can each have a 5-star rating. If you guys know how that kind of works. Short-term rental landlord, I'm in the property at least 4 to 6 times a month, checking on everything, checking inside and out after each renter, making sure that it's perfect for the future guests to maintain my status. There are house rules, safety procedures enforced, availability 24/7 for guests, parking rules, exclusion for parties, quiet hours, non-smoking. There's actually financial penalties if they smoke under my rules. Numbers of guests allowed, video surveillance, locations of hospitals, fire extinguishers in my house, first aid kits, etc. I've attracted families and guests that can afford to rent a house for a week at a time and given them a safe, comfortable place where they can stay on vacation. These guests leave my house spotless. I've discussed my plans with surrounding neighbors, and they've been supportive of it because they understand the difference, that I'm going to be in and out maintaining the property. I've gone the legal route. I already told you that. Short-term rental properties help promote local tourism by providing alternative, comfortable solutions for out-of-town visitors. They can experience all the amenities from home and going to restaurants and spending money here like we like with the tourists. I want to say also, I love living in Murray City. You guys rock, and everything gets taken care of so fast and so efficient. It blows my mind. So. Thank you for your time. I hope my mumbling wasn't too bad and you got the gist of what I think a short-term rental may be beneficial for neighborhoods versus the long-term rentals and the things that people don't understand about short-term rentals. They're just nervous, thinking people are going to party when families come in and enjoy the house, So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Clark, welcome.
Hello, I'm Clark, and I live in District 3 as well. I guess it's District 3 Day, so anyone else, come on up. Last year, I recall the council having a discussion about mixed-use zones and wanting to see more mixed-use zone options and requesting to see a few more options. I recall there were council members, more than one, looking for some mixed-use options with lower density. I currently currently our lowest mixed-use zones as far as density is concerned, and as far as I know, is the village mixed use with 35 units per acre, and the center's mixed use with up to 45 units per acre. I would love to see at least two more zones. I'd love to see one with 15 units per acre and one with 25 units per acre, so that developers have more options when they're looking at properties. A property that could have possibly benefited from this is the R.C. Willey property. They tried for village mixed use. It didn't work out. The council did not approve. And then they came back a year later and they asked for RM15 zoning. And that's what they're currently building, 109 townhomes. But if there was an option for a 15 units per acre mixed use zone, maybe that's what they would have done. And we would have seen some residential on that property. In conclusion, I would encourage that conversation to continue in both the council and planning department, as adding commercial to all zones is great for the economic activity, and that just because it's a lower density doesn't mean that we shouldn't have some great commercial options in there as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Lawrence Horman. Most of the council members and the city officials know me, and I usually get up to speak about homeless issues, and in a way I still am today. Since today seems to be talking about property issues, I thought I'd bring that up. There is a possibility of something that the city can do in their ordinances that would allow for them to help some people who are homeless but have put themselves in a unique situation in trying to solve their own issues on their own. My current situation is that I live in is I'm technically homeless. I have no hookups for utilities. I live in a commercial trailer which I own on a storage lot within the city limits. I have been having troubles getting the city to take my money. I want a power pole. I want a power meter so that I can pay the city so I can have electricity. It could provide me with heat. It could provide me with refrigeration for food, air conditioning, and cooking facilities. But I can't get that under current circumstances. Nobody seems to know what the specifics are, and every time I ask somebody, I get different stories. A limited use in a property like that could be allowing for RV hookups for power, maybe even water and sewer, but at least power without having to build a permanent structure, a concrete foundation, where I can take something like a motorhome or my trailers or something else like that and simply park it there and hook up the meter. I have permission from the property owners, and I can get it in writing to allow me to put a meter in, but I can't get a single consensus, a collective consensus from members of the city in any department to let me know what needs to be done to just simply put a meter on the property so I can pay $25 or $50 a month to have power for refrigeration of my food and for maybe some heat or some air conditioning. And it makes life much more difficult and far more frustrating. What I do there on the property, I earn my rent by securing the property, making sure that there's as few or as little criminal activities as possible going on the property. And that is a difficult thing. We don't have power to put up cameras, to put up a Wi-Fi system so that we can use those cameras effectively, and other similar things. And so I would encourage, not just for my lot, but for other, especially commercial lots, where people could simply bring in a motorhome, a camper, some sort of build a tough shed without having to have permanent building foundations, to allow for some sort of RV hookups so that people can do something like that. It takes people off the street because you can take people who would have otherwise no place to be. They can be there. And doing this for residential properties would be just as useful so that people can bring in their family members in a motorhome or a camper and have them off the street and help to reduce the homeless activity and to reduce the number of homeless within the valley. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing no one else, I will go ahead and close the citizen comments. We have nothing on the consent agenda and no public hearings, so we will move to the business items. The first business item, consider an ordinance repealing paragraph B of section 7.04.020, 13.48.060, and amending section 15.20.260 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to operational transfers of the Solid Waste and Recycling Fund, the Stormwater Fund, and the Power Fund. Ms. Brenda Moore presenting.
So I'll make this short and quick. I did change or amend my request to change the ordinance to just repeal the two for the stormwater and the solid waste. We're just going to leave the language in the power area for the transfers the same. Any change we do to a transfer is going to require an ordinance by the city, so it doesn't matter if it can be eliminated or what it does. The city council can change that percentage and stop it in any given time. So this ordinance is just to repeal the two sections. It's a purely housekeeping thing because we stopped doing the transfers from the solid waste fund and from the stormwater fund more than 2 years ago. And we just realized that it was actually set in code that we should or had to do those transfers. So that's what's before you. So whoever reads the motion probably want to make that change and not reference the power. Okay?
Wonderful.
Thank
Any
you.
questions for Brenda? No. All right. With that, I will take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that the city council approve an ordinance repealing paragraph B of section 7.04.020 and 13.48.060 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to operational transfers of the Solid Waste and Recycling Fund and the Stormwater Fund.
I second it. Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead.
I second it.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion?
No, I think we've discussed
Seeing
this
none.
a couple of times.
We will
And
move.
we talked about it in the committee of the whole.
Correct.
So if there was anything, we would have brought it up at that point, correct?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Seeing none, I will have Brooke take the roll.
Aye.
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 Aye. Wonderful. We'll move to the last business item. Business item number 2, consider a resolution approving an interlocal cooperation agreement between the city and Granite School District relating to music education and instruction. Our Executive Director, Jennifer Kennedy, will be presenting.
Okay, this was also talked about in Committee of the Whole a couple weeks ago. During the last budget cycle, the 2022-2023, there was $40,000 approved for Murray School District for music education. Murray School District requested $21,577. At that time, some council members mentioned they wanted to reach out to Granite School District to offer them some funds as well. We got a proposal back from Granite School District that was more than the amount we had, but after our discussion at Committee of the Whole, I think we decided to give them $16,500. So this resolution is to approve that agreement with Granite School District.
All right. Is there any questions for Jennifer from the council or any discussion on this?
I have a couple of questions. You know how, sorry, you know how Murray School District matches? Is Granite School District going to match what we give them or not?
Yes, they are.
They are? Okay. Is it just going to Woodstock Elementary School and Cottonwood High School, or is it all going to Woodstock?
I believe the proposal, based on how it was written, would just all go to Woodstock.
Okay, because in my reading, it mentioned Cottonwood.
Right, so they had two amounts on their proposal. They had $16,500 for their elementary education and $20,000 for high school.
Right, and so Cottonwood doesn't want anything, right?
They do, but we don't have enough money to give them.
Oh, so we couldn't give some of that 16,000,
So we're giving it to Granite School District.
and
They're
then they'll
determining who
distribute
they're
it
giving that funds
between
to.
the two schools. Got it, okay.
Any further questions? Diane?
No, I'll make a motion.
Okay, I will take a motion then.
Do we bring it back to the council for discussion at all? or?
Well, yeah, we can bring it back. Is there any discussion amongst the council?
I just want
We
to,
just need to have the
Well, let's do a
motion.
motion, then we can
Okay.
have discussion on the motion.
okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. I will make a motion to adopt the resolution approving an interlocal cooperation agreement between the city and Granite School District relating to music education and instruction.
I second it.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
Got it. Okay, so when we were in the committee of the whole, I got a little concerned, and I understand Councilwoman Turner has been asking for this money for Granite School District for these schools because they are in our boundaries, our city boundaries. And I agree with Ms. Turner that we should give this money. I was just comparing what Murray School District was doing with their money. They were giving it a good portion to Horizon Elementary, and then whatever was left, then they filtered it to the other remaining elementary schools. And I just saw this amount, and I thought, whoa, they're getting $16,500 for one school. And I thought, well, that's a lot. But then, when I was talking to some other council members and Jennifer, then I understood that you have been asking for this for many, 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 many years. And so
Not
this
that
is.
many, but many, many.
Take many, many. And I just thought, yeah, we should, because they're in our boundaries, they're in our city boundaries, they are part of our community, the kids come here, and so, yeah, I just want that understanding between all the council members that
Absolutely.
I'm on board, now that I was educated a little bit more.
Wonderful.
Great.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Brooke, will you call the roll?
Mr. Murphy.
Aye.
Ms. Cutter.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And with that, we will move to the mayor's report and questions. Mr. Doug Hill.
All right, thank you. First of all, I'm just here for Mayor Hells, and he is out of town, so excuse him from being here tonight. Just a few items that came out of our meeting this morning with our department heads that you might find of interest or that our citizens might find of interest. As you know, and as we discussed last council meeting, the city is spending a lot of time and effort in preparing for upcoming flooding that is going on, and our Public Works Department, Fire Department, and others are assisting citizens with sandbagging efforts. You may notice if you drive down to Murray Park, you'll see a lot of new sandbagging infrastructure put in place to protect Murray Park as well as other city facilities that we own. So that's something that has been going on the past few weeks. You may be interested to know that the fire department, our emergency manager from the fire department, is organizing a drill with all of our departments participating on May 2nd to prepare for any upcoming emergencies that may be associated with flooding. So that is planned and underway. And then just to remind everybody that on Thursday is the earthquake preparedness exercise at 10:15 on Thursday. If you're a citizen or an employee of the city or you're anywhere, you're encouraged to make preparations for earthquakes, which includes the stop, drop, and cover up exercise that we'll be doing in the city. With the weather turning warm, you wouldn't know it today, but with the weather turning warmer, you're going to see a lot of street and sidewalk construction projects that are starting. We have a number of them that are starting tomorrow. In fact, there will be a shutdown on 725 East at Deerfield to get ready for a water line project, and there are a number of other projects going on throughout the city starting up this month. Anderson Avenue, Vine Street, and the Walden Hills area is going to receive new sidewalks. So you'll see that work going on and continuing throughout the summer and through the fall. Just to make note that the Community and Economic Development Department is undertaking 2 planning efforts. One is an area plan around the Tracks North Station, which is in the Fireclay area, and there will be a open house for the public, particularly those that live in the Fireclay area next week, April 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. In the Burke Hill Apartments. And there's information on our website and social media about that open house, and we encourage citizens to get involved in that. And then also, they are preparing for a study of the historic downtown area and putting together design guidelines. And Jared reported this morning that the committee has been organized and they're ready to start meeting. So they have that fully staffed now. The last item that I'll mention is in 2 weeks, so 2 weeks from Friday, the city will be holding a Arbor Day celebration in Murray Park. And that'll be at noon in the Murray Park Amphitheater. So again, you're all invited to come to that, and as well as citizens who want to celebrate with the city our heritage of tree plantings, as well as other environmental efforts on Arbor Day. So that's everything I have, and be happy to answer any questions.
Are the schools going to be coming to the Arbor Day
They will.
celebration? Okay.
Yep. They've been invited, and they've been participating in art projects and
Okay.
things like that. So,
Okay.
yep.
I just want to say thank you to all the staff that have been working so hard to get us prepared. And I know that in addition to what y'all are doing for the city, the school districts as well the school district has been focused on making sure that the vulnerable schools are shored up as well. So thanks for all the efforts. I know it's not an easy thing. You go from removing tons of snow to now having to prepare for the runoff. So
Thank you.
anything else? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.